There are two kinds of love. One operates at the level of sacral plexus or swadhisthana above Muladhara. And as you know, swadhisthana is the center of leisure and pleasure, comfort and convenience. The lower chakra, where you're trying to gain instant gratification using the path of dopamine. So this love can be best thought of as what I call gender love or sexual love. So it can be towards uh, heterosexual characters, male towards females, females towards males. And when it exhausts those characters, because senses are always looking for novelty, for instant gratification, it might gravitate towards same-sex preferences. So love in general, when we refer to I love you, means there is a sense of giving. That's what people mistake. Love is not about receiving. Love is about giving. Just like surrender in Bhakti Yoga is about giving up your identity. So the first kind of love is on sacral plexus. The second kind of love, the higher love, which is embodied by some of my favorite gurus, including Maanandmai and Neem Karoli Baba, Haidar Khan Baba, is the love springing from the heart plexus, the compassion center. This love is generalized and it does not take into account the sexual orientation of the person you're giving attention to. As I said, love is about giving and attention is about receiving. Love is about giving attention. So when you have empathy or compassion for someone who is in misery, suffering, hurting, you are not concerned about what I can get from this individual. Your wholehearted approach is what I can give to this individual without expecting anything in return. That's why it's selfless love at the level of anhata, the drum that beats without its skin. So we understand that in day-to-day life, a lot of times we will encounter individuals or situations where someone is suffering. And there are so many things we can do, whether it be to customers, clients, homeless individuals, anybody we run into who needs something. And your gentle acts of kindness are creating uh, the love at the level of anhata. And the whole sole purpose of human life is to get out of the boredom, creating the need for instant joy coming from the swadhisthana into beyond boredom, beyond self-full, becoming selfless to help others automatically and spontaneously. You're not thinking about it. It just springs from you. That is the natural thing that should be done, is the approach that you should be taking. So remember that love is about giving. It's not about you. And that is why whether you are thinking about the sacral plexus love or the heart plexus love at Anhata, you are giving. And no matter what kind of love you engage in, your approach should not be what I can get from this individual. It should be what I can give to the individual. Because both of them are forms of giving attention, taking care of the counterpart you are with. And eventually, the goal is to move from the sacral plexus dopamine to the anhata or the heart plexus GABA, where there is prolonged gratification and there's no need for instant appreciation of your quality of life or the way you feel. Because the trap of the way I feel, especially when I'm bored and having not a lot to do, leads you to go and engage in the slowly transforming center of Swadhisthana, because Swadhisthana is ruled by water, and Jal or water is going to be slow transformation, versus Manipura, fire, sun, is going to be rapid transformation. End of the day, whether you are thinking about Swadhisthana or Manipura or Anhata, you are talking about transformation. You are talking about Rajas, the force that will rock you into activity. The way Swadhisthana transformation of Rajas works is using water. So it is the slow, sneaky, insidious transformation that is created without the subject being aware that they are getting there. That is why slowly over time, you will get attached to the objects you are engaging with, Indriya with the Indriyartheshu. And this is applicable not only to all the vices, smoking, drinking, gambling, gaming, trading, but also to the sexual love. And that is why you will see, once you are exposed to something, dhyaito vishayan punsa sangeshteshu upjayate, the more you are exposed, the more you'll think about it. The more you think about it, the more it will imprint in your subconscious. And that is how you get attachment. Attachment can be good or bad. Attachment is not a state of uh, tamas. It is a state of tamas, but it can be divine tamas or it can be sattvic tamas. In the sense, if you are attached to good habits, getting up early in the morning, doing kumbhak pranayama, brahma mura dhyana, drinking alkaline water, the panch pratyaharas, intermittent fasting, you are developing a core that is going to seek a higher, better, farther version of yourself. Versus if you fall for the vices, then you are attached to those activities that are going to consume your day and consume you and heighten the level of non chitta prana in you, which means heighten the level of prakriti in you, heighten the level of patterned, predictable behavior in it. Once you are sattvic, you are in extreme balance. You cannot predict what I am going to do next if I am in extreme sattva, because sattva is using dhyana, dharma. So it is always going to be balancing itself. And this is dynamic balance, which is like walking on a tightrope. And hence, there will always be an element of surprise and unpredictability in sattva. It is dynamic, goodness, balance. Whereas tamas is extreme in one direction, which is extremely predictable. And hence, what a smoker will do after smoking a puff of smoke, 4 hours later, you can tell he's going to go for another cigarette, or a drinker will go for another vodka. So that behavior that becomes patterned, because prana has a cyclical pattern, it has to follow. Earth has to go in a certain revolutionary orbit around the sun. You can predict the path because it has been there, and the observer, by the keen astute knowledge of observations, can predict the path because it has seen it happen before. That is what chitta, witnesser, does because of the astute observations that it makes. So prana you can predict, habits which are ingrained in through the path of Swadhisthana, including sexual love, can be predicted what path they will follow. That's why you'll see there are certain sexual predilections and certain um sexual activities in a certain sequence that individuals will do, and at the same time they will do the same things again and again because they have primed their dopamine pathway into those kind of bodily activities with their partners to gain the dopamine surge, leading to uh, happiness, orgasms, stuff like that. So that is the path of predictable path of water, swadhisthana, slow adaptation or slow deterioration, depending upon what kind of habit you're trying to form, what kind of changes you're going to bring. But no matter what, as long as it is watery, it is going to be slow changes, changes that are going to be occurring slowly over time without the observer realizing and recognizing that they are changing. And that is why we feel when people talk in relationships, you have changed. You're not the person you used to be. Well, you're talking about the slow adaptations that that individual is undergoing based on the creation, procreation, leisure, pleasure, comfort, convenience of Swadhisthana. And compare this with the center of compassion, which has nothing to do with the water center. Compassion is uh, going to be changing you more like air. It's extremely subtle, even more subtle than water, the fluidity if you consider. So the benefit is that at this center, compassion, you have become so selfless, you have become so aware, you have become such a great witnesser, chitta particle, that you know what is the right thing to do. You always act out in dharma, justice, dynamic balance of sattva. So, whole goal is to move from sadhisthana into anhata, and that again happens through practice, nishkam karma, selfless service in the community, neighborhood, family, society. And the one good example I can give you is of kids. Your love towards the kids is always going to be higher than the love towards the partner. And the reason for that is it's the involvement of the anhata or the heart plexus chakra, because there is no need to gain anything from another individual. There is only an element of giving. So for most individuals, you will see the love for their children will exceed the love for their spouse or the sexual partners, because here there is no dopamine. Here there is a need to see this attachment, although there is, to grow and get better over time and do better in life than you did. Get him the things that you're not able to get. Now, you might spoil your kid doing that. That's a different story. But there is no element of what I can get from this individual. And that is what separates the children from your spouse. And that relationship does not have a business component of give and take. Unfortunately, to create kids, you have to enter into a business component of give and take, husband and wife. And that's the way the world works, because prana, everything has a motive and everything has a goal and a purpose. Whereas chitta, there is no purpose because there are no two people. It's the Advait tendency, everything inclusive, whereas prana is going to break everything down in Prakriti, in Mahabhut, and then all these gunas that we talk about. So try to morph your Swadhisthana love into Anhata love. Try to understand the concept of love, which is selfless giving, and you are giving attention, not seeking attention. Love is about giving attention, and understand that there will be slow transformation of Swadhisthana water adapting or deteriorating insidiously, slowly, because that's the way water dissolves things, be it your personality or your habits. And then there is this sattvic and even finer version of transformation occurring once you have overcome the sacral plexus. So at the anhata, you are undergoing extremely granular, fine transformation under the power of compassion, humility, gratitude, because these elements are required and these will spring inside you spontaneously once you can look beyond your needs. Needs of boredom created by dopamine at the level of Swadhisthana. So try to upgrade from Swadhisthana love to Anhata love, and then you'll become a better individual. Then you'll be more happier with yourself. The need for boredom, the need for craving attention is what drives people towards sex, and that is ingrained, imprinted in you life after life. So if you understand the limitations where it's coming from, sex is a incomplete and uh, rather miserably failing apparatus to attain unity, or combining your fallacies and your inadequacies by trying to find it in someone else. So there is a sort of a void inside you that you're trying to fill with sex, which will never get filled, because it is like if you're hollow from inside because termites are eating you out. No matter how much priming and plastering you do on the surface, the inside will continue to be vacuous, hollow, and incomplete. So when it is incomplete from within, you have to fill it and stuff it from within, and not try to conceal it by distractions, detours, temptations, things that are going to distract you away from the problem. And that is why solitude is an excellent way to explore and understand your inadequacies, and how who you are is best understood when you are by yourself. And if you give it more time, you start relishing it, because there is no other. Brahman is one without the other. So there is no need for the other individual to keep you happy. Your happiness is internal, and that is what bliss of chitta focuses on, versus prana is trying to find it in the external world. And once you transform from happiness in the exterior, swadhisthana love, to happiness in the interior, anhata love, you are on the right path to grow your chitta. Your shiv chit, your bliss by introspection is going to be with you ever and forever. Jai Shri Ram.